Stop waiting. Start investing with little and build your financial freedom in 2025. Have you ever noticed how some people earn very little but still manage to get ahead? And others earn a lot but somehow remain broke? Here's the hard truth, and it's also freeing. It's not how much you make that defines your financial future. It's what you do with what you already have. While some are waiting for the perfect job, the ideal moment, or next year, others are taking action now, even with little, but they're doing it with clarity, strategy, and vision. That idea that you need a lot of money to start investing, that was designed to keep you stuck, passive, and constantly spending, not building. But let me ask you something. What if I told you that you could start with just $10, that you don't need to understand everything? You just need to take smart steps, that you can use your own routine, your phone, your internet, and start right now without needing to be an expert? You don't have to be a genius. You don't need to inherit wealth. You just need to stop sabotaging yourself. In this video, I'm going to show you a clear, practical, and doable plan. One that works with what you already have, right where you are. And yes, this can change the direction of your financial life in just 6 months. But only if you're ready to stop standing in line with the ones who wait and step into the game with those who act. If you're tired of watching other people move forward while you stay stuck, this video is your turning point, because the only thing standing between you and your financial freedom is one decision, and that decision starts now. Making money is just a beginning. The real difference lies in how you multiply it with smart decisions. You know what one of the biggest lies is that we learn in school? That if you study hard, get a good job, and earn a decent salary, your life is set. Let me tell you a secret. It's not. The real game isn't about how much you earn. It's about how much you keep grow and turn into freedom. There are people earning $2,000, $5,000 a month, and still living paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because they never learned to think like wealthy people. They were never taught financial education. They never understood how powerful conscious decisions with money can be. And honestly, you can't keep living on autopilot anymore. Sure, you can earn more money, but if your mindset is still poor, it'll just slip through your fingers. That's why I always say, it's not your salary that makes you rich. It's your financial intelligence. Wealthy people see money as a tool, not a goal. They don't chase money. They build systems. They create assets. They generate multiple streams of income. While the average worker looks for security, investors chase freedom. And freedom doesn't come from stability. It comes from education, discipline, and bold decisions. When I got started, it wasn't about how much I had in my pocket. It was about what I had in my mind. School didn't teach me how to invest or save or build passive income, but I chose to learn on my own. I started small, reading books, talking to mentors, using simple spreadsheets. I learned to live on 70% of my income, save before spending, and invest in myself before trying to impress others. That's called expense control, and it's the first step for anyone who wants to stop working for money and start making money work for them. You don't need a CEO's salary to start thinking like an investor. What you need is clarity, consistency, and a healthy dose of humility. Most people want to look rich. I wanted to be free. While others were financing the latest iPhone in 24 installments, I was studying how the S&P 500 worked, why VTSAX was one of the best index funds, and how compound growth could build my wealth over the long run. It's not hard. It's just different from what most people do. The truth? You don't need a lot. You need discipline. And that no one can do for you. So now, take a real look at your life. Are you building wealth or just surviving? Do you have a financial plan or are you just winging it? I'm not here to make you comfortable. I'm here to challenge you, because that challenge is what got me out of the rat race. And if you're hearing this right now, it's not by accident. You're ready to see there's another path, a path where money doesn't control you, a path that begins with a simple decision and leads straight to your next step. Start investing with strategy. Step-by-step investment strategy. First step, stop romanticizing risk when you don't even have an emergency fund. You don't build a castle starting with the roof. The foundation comes first. Most people want to invest like Warren Buffett, but can't handle a flat tire without maxing out their credit card. That's not financial freedom. That's denial. A well-structured emergency fund, sitting in a high-yield, liquid, and protected account, is your shield against chaos. We're talking peace of mind here. And honestly, that's worth more than any stock on the market. Your first investment isn't about taking risks. It's about creating strategic security. Once your base is solid, then you can start looking at where wealthy people actually put their money. Spoiler, it's not into hype or gambling. It's into index funds. Personally, I love ETFs. Why? Because they're smart, simple, and accessible. When you invest in the S&P 500, you're basically saying, I believe in the top 500 companies in the U.S. With VTSAX, you're owning a slice of nearly the entire American market. Feeling a bit bolder? VWO and VFM give you exposure to emerging markets. It's like planting seeds in several fertile fields. Over time, something will grow. And the best part? The fees are incredibly low. That's applied financial education. Now let's talk thrill. Want excitement? Take it slow. This is where most people mess up. Individual stocks are fun. Apple, Amazon, InBev, who wouldn't want to say they're a shareholder? But here's the truth. This takes study. There are no shortcuts. You need to understand industries, economic cycles, quarterly reports. But above all, never invest more than you're willing to lose. That's a golden rule. If you already have financial discipline, use a small percentage of your portfolio to experiment. If not, backtrack a few steps. This isn't a game of luck. It's a strategy with purpose. And now, the hottest topic of the decade, cryptocurrencies. You might roll your eyes, but Bitcoin and Ethereum are here to stay. They're alternative assets, not a substitute for common sense. If you're going to enter this space, do it with financial intelligence, not greed. Learn what blockchain actually is. Understand how Web3 works. Follow the news and trends. And use the dollar cost averaging method. Invest small amounts regularly instead of trying to time the bottom. This is more about habit than timing. Think of crypto like planting a tree. It takes patience, awareness, and care. Investing isn't about excitement. It's about process, consistency, and clarity. Every step you take builds structure. And when you do this with a monthly plan, expense tracking, and intentional action, your money starts to gain a life of its own. That's when the magic happens. You realize you don't need to be a genius, an heir, or lucky. You just need to follow a plan and stick to it. And if that already opened your eyes, wait until you see the wealth mindset that guides all of these steps. Explore individual stocks. Now we're entering a space that separates the curious from the committed. Individual stocks. This is where the game gets real. It's where you stop being a spectator of the economy and become a partial owner of real companies. But heads up, this is not a lottery. Buying shares of Apple, Amazon, or InBev might sound exciting, but it demands something that most people just won't do: study. You need to understand the business behind the stock, not just follow the hype. The difference between an amateur investor and a serious one reads headlines. The other reads balance sheets and earnings reports. Now, I'm not saying you need to become a financial analyst, but if you're putting your money on the line, you need to know where it's going. Study the industry. Check if the company has consistent profits, good leadership, and the strength to handle crises. Example, magazine Visa. It's been on a roller coaster these past few years. If you bought at the peak without research, you got burned. But those who understood the retail cycle, they stayed calm and played the long game. Financial intelligence tells you when to buy, but more importantly, when not to. That's what separates investors from gamblers. I see a lot of beginners trying to get in by buying cheap stocks. Careful. Low price doesn't always mean opportunity. Sometimes it means trouble. That's why I always say, invest in knowledge before you invest in any company. Read books like The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham or Common Stocks and Uncommon Profits by Philip Fisher. Watch earnings calls. Follow CEOs on LinkedIn. Study what major investors are doing. But never, ever copy without understanding. Millionaire mind study. The rest? They guess. And one more thing, stocks should not be the core of your portfolio, especially if you're just getting started. They're your exploratory piece, not the foundation. Keep it to 10 to 15% max of your portfolio. The rest? Stick with diversified assets like the ETFs we discussed earlier. Why? Because it protects you from emotion. It protects your finances from impulse. And if there's one thing that destroys even the best investors, it's emotion. The market doesn't reward fear or greed. It rewards discipline. Now, if you approach this space with responsibility, stocks can teach you more than just numbers. They'll show you how businesses think, how markets move, how economic cycles unfold. You'll start seeing the news through a different lens. You'll develop a philosophy around money, one based on logic, not rumors. And by doing that, you'll develop something priceless. The ability to make decisions based on facts, not feelings. But hang tight, because next up is a territory even more volatile and even more misunderstood than any other: crypto. Enter the world of cryptocurrency with caution. Crypto, the topic that gets some people hyped and others absolutely terrified. What I'm about to tell you might go against what you usually hear out there, but I've got to be honest with you. Crypto isn't magic. It's technology with risk baked in. Yes, Bitcoin and Ethereum are real. They're solid, they're established, and they're backed by strong fundamentals. But you know what's not real? Those promises of getting rich overnight. That's an illusion. Crypto isn't a shortcut. It's just one piece of the puzzle. A high volatility piece, yes, but still just one part of a well-thought-out financial strategy. And if you don't have discipline, it will chew you up and spit you out. So if you're going to enter this space, do it like an adult, with responsibility, with financial education, and with a clear understanding of what you're doing. Want to invest in Bitcoin as a beginner? Great. But first, learn the basics. What is blockchain? What does decentralization mean? What are smart contracts? Like I always say, invest in yourself first, then in any asset. Start small. Be consistent. Be predictable. Use a dollar-cost averaging method. Buy a little bit each month with money you can afford. This isn't speculation. This is long-term planning. And be careful with greed, because when you see a coin jump 200% in a few months, your mind screams, "Put everything in." But that's exactly when people lose it all. Millionaire mindset doesn't chase hype. It analyzes. It asks, if this drops by half, can I handle it? If the answer is no, then you put in too much. The rule is simple. Invest enough to learn, but not enough to break. And over time, as you build financial self-awareness, you'll know exactly how much of your portfolio can handle that kind of volatility. Remember, you don't need to understand everything about crypto to get started, but you do need to begin with humility. Start by researching serious projects. Look into what people like Vitalik Buterin are building with Ethereum. Understand the real impact Bitcoin has in countries with unstable economies. That's when you'll realize this market is way bigger than memes and Lamborghini dreams. It's a space of continuous learning, mental expansion, and long-term wealth building, if you have patience. Because when it comes to crypto, speed only serves those who sell you courses, not those who are building a future. And if this is starting to click for you, you're already way ahead of the crowd. Because while most still see crypto as a digital casino, you're learning to build real financial freedom with clarity and purpose. And now the next piece of this puzzle, it's not in the market, it's within you. Because before you can acquire external assets, you've got to align your internal mindset. And that's exactly what we're diving into next. Mindset and philosophy. Most people want results without transformation. They want to get rich, but keep thinking like they're broke. A wealthy mindset doesn't happen by chance. It's built day by day through decision, consistency, and personal responsibility. It's not about luck. It's about repetition. The ones who in the financial game aren't the fastest. They're the most resilient. I always say, those committed to the process eventually earn the results. But the ones who jump from strategy to strategy, they never plan anything that lasts. You want financial freedom? Then start by changing the way you see money and yourself. You know what the real asset of wealthy people is? Financial self-awareness. It's knowing what triggers you, It's understanding why you overspend, why you procrastinate, and why you don't follow your own plan. I've seen people who know everything about investing, but they can't manage their emotions. And without self-control, no financial plan survives. That's why I talk so much about keeping things simple with discipline. Want to grow? Make a monthly plan. Track your expenses. Make saving a habit, not a random act of willpower. It may sound small, but that's exactly how you build a legacy. There's a silent belief rooted in many people. I'm just not good with money. I hear it all the time. But you know what that is? It's an excuse dressed up as humility. Financial education can be learned. Millionaire mindset can be built. Nobody is born with it. You build it through reading, practicing, failing consciously, and making fast corrections. Start with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, then read The Richest Man in Babylon. Then move on to Secrets of the Millionaire Mind and the Secrets of a Successful Investor's Mindset. It's not about memorizing. It's about changing the way you think, feel, and act around money. And here's a hard truth. What's holding you back isn't a lack of money. It's a lack of decision. The decision to study instead of complain. The decision to plan instead of improvise. The decision to say no to now so you can say yes to tomorrow. When you really understand that, you realize you're in control. That's when you stop waiting for the perfect salary, the perfect time, the perfect year, and start with what you've got. Because what matters most isn't how much you start with. It's how long you keep going. And that's built in silence. In the background, day by day, money is just a reflection of your mindset. That's why people with focus, consistency, and long-term vision always win. Not because they know more, but because they keep doing the right things, even when they don't feel like it. That's called habit, ritual, standard. And that's what separates those who build wealth from those who build excuses. But if everything I've said so far struck a chord with you, wait until you see what happens when you actually start taking action. Because knowledge without action means nothing. And that's exactly what we're about to awaken in the next step. Call to action. Now listen carefully, because this is the moment where most people give up and a few decide to win. You already know the path. You understand what needs to be done. But knowledge alone isn't power. Only action is real power. The question isn't if you'll invest. It's when. And the only acceptable answer is now. You don't need $2,000 to get started. What you need is clarity. Clarity that your future is in your hands, not in the promises of the government, your boss, or your job. Want to get out of the rat race? Then take the first step. Even if it's a small one, choose what your starting point will be. Will you open a high-yield savings account? Start learning about an ETF like VTSAX? Begin building your emergency fund? It doesn't matter how big your step is. What matters is the direction. Today's discipline becomes tomorrow's comfort. Remember that. Financial independence isn't built on magic. It's built on small, conscious daily actions. Write this down. What you don't start today will be missing tomorrow. And tomorrow won't bring the perfect scenario. It'll bring the results of what you built in silence, starting today. And yes, you'll have doubts. You'll feel fear. You'll think about giving up. But that's exactly when the transformation happens. It's when you choose to keep going, even without guarantees that you become someone new. Because the most valuable asset you can build is your new identity, the one who takes action, who learns, who plans, who follows through. And listen, if you want to start with something simple, use what's already in your hands. An online service, a trusted brokerage, a practical course. Use your phone, use your free time, but don't use excuses. Now is screaming for you to take a stand. So tell me, honestly, are you going to keep waiting for everything to line up? Or will you take responsibility and create your own luck? Some people spend their lives waiting for a sign, and others, they become the sign. There's no miracle. Just focus, sacrifice, daily routine, and vision. Progress doesn't shout. It whispers. And only those with courage to take the first step in the dark get to hear it. Your first client, your first investment, your first video, your first yes. Because the world changes when you change the way you take action. Now it's on you. And if this video gave you clarity, if it stirred something inside you, drop it in the comments and tell me, what's your first step? I want to hear from you. I want to know where you are and where you want to go, because when we grow together, when we build financial culture as a community, transformation becomes inevitable. And of course, if you want more videos like this, more thought-provoking insights that challenge the way you think and act, you already know what to do. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and let's keep going on this journey together. But tell me this for real. Are you really going to leave this video and keep living like nothing's changed? Keep waiting for a sign from the universe while life passes you by and your account stays in the red? Or will you finally do what needs to be done with courage, focus, and intention? Because right now, you have everything you need to begin. This is no longer about knowledge. It's about decision. Will you start building your emergency fund? Will you study that ETF? Will you open that account? Will you invest $10, $20, whatever you can to start building wealth? Because if you don't start now, when will you? How many times have you told yourself, this year is going to be different? Then December comes and nothing has changed. But today is different because now you know the way. And if you don't apply what you've learned here, you'll go back to the same life, waiting for someone else to save you. Let me remind you, no one's coming. Only you can do this for yourself. So drop a comment right now. What's your first step? I want to know. I want to see you in motion. Let's build this journey together. And if you want to keep learning with me, keep growing your mindset and building real freedom, not based on luck, but on strategy. Subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications, because this is just the beginning. And your future, it will thank you for what you chose to do today.